Hi. So we couldn't meet today, so I thought I'd do a bit of a video about what I wanted to talk about for the session. So let's see if we can. Okay, so there's the where we are, and I wanted to talk primarily today about giving an elevator pitch. What we're going to do is the week after the President's holiday break, I'm going to get you to play your videos in class and take any questions from the class. So we'll do that. The other thing I wanted to try and do, and I'll do a separate video, is to work on another one of these practicing skills. And the particular one I think we'll look at is there's a nice, relatively easy way to write a mobile app, and I'll get you to try doing that in class next time we meet. So that's where we are. I've added my usual cloud to the fuzziness of concept of operations, which is where we are at the moment. And the aim is to move from a nebulous idea into something that we can understand and we can build. So the two things we're focusing on now to get there are the project relevance statement, and you had a go at that last week, but I want you to have another go at it and submit that idea by next week before class. And this is the stuff that I'm looking for, right? The first blank describes a specific thing you're designing or studying. The second blank describes what you will gain by studying it. The third blank identifies who should care about your findings or product and how it will help them. Right? And then the overall thing should form a cohesive argument for the relevance of what you're doing. And then I want you to use good grammar and good spelling. So once you've got that project relevance statement, and we looked at some last week, some examples, I want you to put together a video that is your elevator pitch. Now normally an elevator pitch is a 30-second pitch, but as I think I showed you last week, this video should be 3 minutes or less. So you can be a little bit more expansive than the 30-second video elevator pitch. So the first thing that you really need to get across is what's the need, what's the opportunity, what's the problem. Then you need to explain what your idea for solving the problem is. So then you need to tell me, or tell everybody, who would be interested in this. Why would they be interested in it? Oftentimes the motivation behind your idea is a really good one. So I want you to tell me how you came up with the idea. This is just the start of generating this project, so I want you to tell me what the next steps are in order to see this project through. And then what I'm looking for is, did you make a compelling case? I want to see enthusiasm, and we'll do the last bit live. Once we've played your video, I'll get the class to ask each of you questions about your proposal, your pitch. Okay, so that's what's coming up next, and here's the calendar. I took this screenshot yesterday, so the 3rd of February is highlighted. the thing I need from you today definitely is your GitHub handle, and I'll email you after I've finished this recording if you haven't already submitted that. Next Friday, on the 11th, I need your project relevance statements. Feel free to submit those early. I can give feedback and you can resubmit them, provided it's all done before 9:30 on February the 11th. The following week, February the 18th, is the break, so we won't be meeting on the 18th. And then on the 25th, I want to show everybody's video pictures. So you need to have that done well in advance of class on the 25th, and I should change that due date because it has to be done before 9:30 on the Friday. As you can see, the bottom one there on the 4th of March is the shall statements. So far with the project relevance statement and the video pitch, we're spitballing, if you like. We're trying to make up an idea. We're trying to expand upon an idea. In order for us to actually make a product, though, we need to have some hard and fast specification of what that product is. Still doesn't tell us how we do it, but we need to know what it's going to do. And that's where the shall statements and, to a lesser extent, the use case diagrams come in. Right, so the requirements come in two pieces: the functional, what the product is supposed to do, and the cross-functional, what performance the project is to achieve. And the way you state these is using the verb shall. And if you can see up on the top right, I've crossed out must, should, could, can, will, and may. And I personally won't use any of those words when I state a requirement. So, for example, text messages shall be sent to anyone with a mobile phone. Right, so this is for my tinfoil hat messenger application that we looked at the video pitch for last week. And then the cross-functional example is text messages shall arrive within half a second. Right, so the key point with cross-functional is if it's a performance measure, then you need to have a number associated with it. You can't just say text messages shall arrive quickly. That doesn't cut it. Quickly for one person is an age for somebody else. So you have to have a numerical value associated with any performance metric. So I quite like use case diagrams when it comes to the next step, fleshing out a little bit of those shall statements. And there's really 4 pieces to this diagram. The stick figures, the me and my friend, are what are called actors. These are people or things or other computer systems that are external to the thing we're building, that the thing we're building needs to talk to. Right, so me, I need to be able to send a secure message to my friend, and my friend needs to be able to respond securely. Okay, so the lines, the arrows joining me to send secure message to and then eventually to my friend. That's the direction of the flow of information. And then my friend responds securely to me. Now, this is a really simple example. It might be that there are other external actors. There may be, maybe I need to interact with social media. Not that that would be secure, but maybe I do. Maybe I need to interact with the telephone company, with the cell phone company, right? Maybe they need to be one of the external actors. So that's the first piece, the actor or the role. It doesn't have to be a person, it can just be a role. One person may be represented by many roles or actors in a system, depending on the complexity of the system. So the next piece, and I've already talked about it, are the communication lines, right? Those arrows tell us what the interfaces are that we need between the system and the outside world. Sometimes they also tell us the communication mechanisms between internal things as well, but mostly it's about communication between the outside actors and the inside functionality. The box, the square box that is labeled Secure Message Platform at the top, is what's called the scope or the system boundary, right? Everything inside that box is part of the system we have to build, and everything outside that box is something we cannot impact. We can't have any influence over it, right? Now the two things inside the box are functional requirements. Send secure message is a functional requirement. Respond securely is a functional requirement. These functional requirements, they're called use cases, and use case names have to include a verb, a doing word, right? Send, respond, in this case, are the two verbs for one for each of the ellipses. One for each of the ellipses. Okay. So once you think about this, you wonder, well, is there something else I need to do with the system? Well, I probably need to create an account. And if I'm going to send the message securely, probably my friend also needs to create an account. Right? So the nice thing about these doodles is that it lets us think about other pieces of functionality. And again, this new use case, create account, has a verb in it, create. Okay, and there's just labeling of the pieces. The system boundary, the actors or roles, and the specific functions. Now, I'm not going to read through these. I'll share these slides so you can read through them. But the aim here is to figure out from your project relevance statements a shall statement, right? So Bright came up with the project relevance statement. I am designing a Raspberry Pi robot because I want to know more about robotics and also how Raspberry Pi works in order to help me improve my knowledge in robotics and gain skills. And I wasn't sure what else to say, but we called it a MyBot. So the MyBot shall be able to take pictures. And then Michael Gallagher said, I am studying network in order to understand how to develop or utilize a Raspberry Pi to potentially develop something along the lines of a honeypot or something else similar. And the shall statement we got from that was the honey pie shall present itself as a vulnerable Windows Server machine. Right, so that some of these are still a little bit too generic and need a little bit more work before they would actually make it into a real shall statement. But I hope you get the idea. And there's some more functional requirements and more. Right, so then I went back and looked at the cross-functional requirements or the performance requirements, and the MyBot was taking pictures, and now we need to say how many pictures it can store. Well, let's say 1,000, right? And the honey pie, let's say that it needs 1,000 base T network connection. That's not really a performance requirement, but it is a cross-functional requirement, and it's quite specific. Right, 1,000 base T. The other performance requirements that you often see are cost requirements, right? The smart security system shall cost less than $200 to install. Okay. And I think that's about all I wanted to say. So I'm going to share those slides, and I'll share this video as well. And I will put together another video about using React Native to generate an app. Okay, thank you.